and if you look at the reports, even the disclosures that Mr. Snowden has put forward, all the stories that have been written. What you're not reading about is the government actually abusing these programs and listening in on people's phone calls or inappropriately reading people's emails. What you're hearing about is the prospect that these could be abused. Now, part of the reason they're not abused is because these checks are in place. And those abuses would be against the law and would be against the orders of the FISC. Having said that, though, if you are outside of the intelligence community, if you are the ordinary person and you start seeing a bunch of headlines saying, you S big brother looking down on you, collecting telephone records. Etc., well, understandably, people would be concerned. I would be, too, if I wasn't inside the government. And so, in light of the changed environment where a whole set of questions have been raised, some in the most sensationalized manner possible, where these leaks are released drip by drip, one a week. To kind of maximize attention and see if they can catch us at some imprecision on something. In light of that, it makes sense for us to go ahead. Lay out what exactly we're doing, have a discussion with Congress. Have a discussion with industry, which is also impacted by this. Have a discussion with civil libertarians, and see, can we do this better? I think the main thing I want to emphasize is I don't have an interest in the people at the NSA. Don't have an interest in doing anything other than making sure that where we can prevent a terrorist attack. where we can get information ahead of time, that we're able to carry out that critical task. We do not have an interest in doing anything other than that. And we've tried to set up a system that is as fail-safe as so far at least. We've been able to think of to make sure that these programs are not abused. But people may have better ideas and people may want to jigger slightly sort of the balance between. The information that we can get versus the incremental encroachments on privacy that if haven't. Already taken place might take place in a future administration, or as technologies develop further. And the other thing that's happening is that as technology develops further, technology itself may provide us some additional safeguards. So, for example, if people don't have confidence that the law, the checks and balances of the court, and Congress are sufficient to give us confidence that government is not snooping, well, maybe we can embed technologies in there that prevent the snooping regardless of what government wants to do. I mean, there may be some technological fixes that provide another layer of assurance. And so those are the kinds of things that I'm looking forward to having a conversation about. Question: can you understand, though? Why some people might not trust what you're saying right now about wanting to? President Obama: no, I can't. Question: that they should be comfortable with the process. President Obama: well, the fact that I said that the programs are operating in a way that prevents abuse. That continues to be true, without the reforms. The question is, how do I make the American people more comfortable? If I tell Michelle that I did the dishes now, granted, in the White House I don't do the dishes. That much, but back in the day and she's a little skeptical, well, I'd like her to trust me. But maybe I need to bring her back and show her the dishes and not just have her take my word for it. And so the program is, I am comfortable that the program currently is not being abused. I'm comfortable that if the American people examined exactly what was taking place, how it was being used, what the safeguards were, that they would say, you know what? These folks are following the law and doing what they say they're doing. But it is absolutely true that with the expansion of technology, this is an area that's moving very quickly with the revelations that have depleted public trust. That if there are some additional things that we can do to build that trust back up, then we should do them. Jonathan Carl. Question, thank you, Mr. President. You have said that core Al-Qaeda has been decimated, that its leaders are on the run. Now that we've seen this terror threat that has resulted in embassies closed throughout the Arab world, much of Africa, do you still believe that Al-Qaeda has been decimated? And if I can ask in the interest of transparency, can you tell us about these drone strikes that we've seen over the last couple of weeks in Yemen? President Obama, what I said in the same National Defense University speech back in May. that I referred to earlier is that core Al-Qaeda is on its heels, has been decimated. But what I also said was that Al-Qaeda and other extremists have metastasized into regional groups that can pose significant dangers. And I'd refer you back to that speech just back in May where I said specifically that although they are less likely to be able to carry out spectacular homeland attacks like 9/11, they have the capacity to go after our embassies. They have the capacity, potentially, to go after our businesses. They have the capacity to be destabilizing and disruptive in countries where the security apparatus is weak. And that's exactly what we are seeing right now. So it's entirely consistent to say that this tightly organized and relatively centralized Al-Qaeda that attacked us on September 11 has been broken apart and is very weak and does not have a lot of operational capacity. And to say we still have these regional organizations like AQAP that can pose a threat. That can drive potentially a truck bomb into an embassy wall and can kill some people. And so that requires us, then, to make sure that we have a strategy that is strengthening those. Partners so that they've got their own capacity to deal with what are potentially manageable regional. Threats if these countries are a little bit stronger and have more effective CT and so forth. It means that we've got to continue to be vigilant and go after known terrorists who are potentially carrying out plots or are going to strengthen their capacity over time because they're always testing the boundaries of, well, maybe we can try this, maybe we can do that. So this is an ongoing process. We are not going to completely eliminate terrorism. What we can do is to weaken it and to strengthen our partnerships in such a way that it does not pose the kind of horrible threat that we saw on September 11th. And I'm not going to discuss specific operations that have taken place. Again, in my speech in May, I was very specific about how we make these. Determinations about potential lethal strikes, so I would refer you to that speech. Question: so you won't even confirm that we carried out drone strikes in Yemen? President Obama, I will not have a discussion about operational issues. Ed Henry. Question: I hope you would defend me as well. President Obama, I would. Question: okay, thank you. I want to ask you about two important dates that are coming up. October 1st, you've got to implement your signature healthcare law. You recently decided on your own to delay a key part of that. And I wonder, if you pick and choose what parts of the law to implement. Couldn't your successor down the road pick and choose whether they'll implement your law and keep it in place? And on September 11th we'll have the first anniversary of Benghazi. And you said on September 12th. Make no mistake, we'll bring to justice the killers who attacked our people. "11 months later, where are they, sir?" President Obama, well, I also said that we'd get bin Laden, and I didn't get him in 11 months. So we have informed, I think, the public that there's a sealed indictment. It's sealed for a reason. But we are intent on capturing those who carried out this attack, and we're going to stay on it until we get them. Question, and you're close to having suspects in custody? President Obama, I will leave it at that. But this remains a top priority for us. Anybody who attacks Americans, anybody who kills, tragically, for Americans who were serving us in a very dangerous place. We're going to do everything we can to get those who carried out those attacks. With respect to healthcare, I didn't simply choose to delay this on my own. This was in consultation with businesses all across the country, many of whom are supportive of the Affordable Care Act. And many of whom, by the way, are already providing health insurance to their employees. But we're concerned about the operational details of changing their HR operations, if they've got a lot of employees. Which could be costly for them, and them suggesting that there may be easier ways to do this. Now, what's true, Ed, is that in a normal political environment, it would have been easier for me to simply call up the speaker and say, you know what? This is a tweak that doesn't go to the essence of the law it has to do with, for example. Are we able to simplify the attestation of employers as to whether they're already providing health insurance or not? It looks like there may be some better ways to do this. Let's make a technical change to the law. That would be the normal thing that I would prefer to do.